All right, good morning, folks. Today is November 15th, 2024. This is Coffee with Community Services, Alta California Regional Center's weekly service provider meeting. Thank you very much for joining us today. We've got 70 folks on so far. Let's introduce our staff and then get into our agenda. Um, this morning, good morning to I see Christy from Community Services and Odelia and Janice and Ethan and Christine, good morning, and Alejandra and our manager Scott and our manager Michelle are both on, and good morning to Jessica as well. And good morning to Kylie from Community Services and Michael Mercado. And from we've got client services manager. I see Carol on this morning. Good morning, Carol. And from community services, I see Mason and Jolana on as well. Going to my next screen from Community Services, I see our lead Community Services Specialist, Jason, and I see Marty and Damien and Tom from Community Services as well. And good morning to our training manager, Herman. Good morning as well. And Rowena from Client Services is on, and I see Dan and Beverly and Shauna and Alicia from Community Services and Helen getting on as well, and Rhonda too. So we've got a big group of folks, Kylie on there too. For our agenda for today, we are going to go do our sign of the week in Deaf Culture 101. We have some spotlights. You heard Early Explorers and Sunset Lotus. We have some updates about coordinated family supports, end of life planning. And I think Carol, is it going to be Carol Wattillo? Is going to be on with a flyer to share, or someone from Progressive Employment about a,
That'd be me.
hey, I'm going to make you a co-host so you can share your screen if you'd like to when we get to that as well, to present too. And we are going to get an update from Jordan's team about our community resource development plan projects and RFP that will be coming up, request for proposal. Let's see, I saw Rowena on there, and so hopefully I can have her report, or Helen, or one of the staff that participated in our fundraiser yesterday, and maybe we can thank and acknowledge some of our service providers. And then we have some calendar events. We have a micro enterprise fair coming up. Going to give the best update that I can on rate reform and service provider directory, and going to share the board insurance policy for resource development that we discussed at the provider advisory committee meeting yesterday. And then finally, capital tree lighting and the opportunity to be able to make ornaments again this year for an Alta specific tree. So we will talk about that too. So I'm going to start by throwing it over to Michael, who I will spotlight now.
Okay, excellent. Good morning, everyone. Today, I will be teaching you some of the signs of the week, and we do have a holiday approaching, so I have 3 signs for you to kind of help you use your vocabulary. We have party, we have play, and we have game. So first, for party, you start with your Y hand shapes like this, and you swing them about this way. Party. Perfect. For play, it can be a little confusing because they're very similar. It's very similar to party. You use the same hand shapes, but you shake your hands this way instead of the swing. So that's play. Then we have game, like this. Bump your fists together with your thumbs up. Okay, so one more time for all 3. We have party, play, game. Excellent job, everyone. Now for Deaf Culture 101. Today's topic is the dinner table syndrome. This is a word coined in the deaf community, which means that typically deaf and hard of hearing people feel alienated at the dinner table with their family. Deaf and hard of hearing folks are watching the folks around them chatting and laughing, but they're not understanding what's going on. They're not understanding the comments being said. And about 70% of deaf and hard of hearing people have stated they feel isolated within their family conversations. People talk fast, there's rapid turn taking, and their eyes just can't keep up with the conversation. The deaf and hard of hearing people typically will ask a family member, hey, what was that they so and so said? Or what are you guys talking about? And most of the time, the responses are, oh, it's not important. And so there's one. And then we have people who will say, hey, what was they said? And they're like, oh, I'll just tell you later. And do they actually tell anybody later? No, it never happens. And then we have people just talking really fast. And again, that rapid turn taking, it's really hard to follow the conversation. So there might be jokes and stories within the dialogue that's being missed. And if they're asking for an explanation, they're typically not getting it and therefore being left out. And this happens very broadly around the deaf community. And so thinking about Thanksgiving coming up soon and Christmas coming up soon, most deaf and hard of hearing people typically prefer to socialize with other ASL users rather than going to family events. Because with other ASL users, it's easier to engage in that dialogue happening around the table. And that can typically offend family members who feel like they're picking their friends over family. And really, it's hard for the deaf person to explain to the family members that it's more so about the experience of being isolated from the conversation and being able to engage with friends. So there are a few tips that I can throw out there for families to help be more inclusive for deaf and hard of hearing folks at the dinner table. One is, they can bring some paper or a whiteboard, maybe even an iPad, um, or a laptop or something to write, some bullet points of the communication that's going on. If others would also slow down their pace and slow down the turn taking, it would be easier for the deaf person to follow along with what they're saying, the deaf or hard of hearing person. Also, eye contact is very important. This is a lot of is communicated via the gestures and facial expressions. It's also possible to use a phone or a tablet to use apps that will transcribe the written or the verbal communication into a written form. So I really encourage, encouraging friends and family members who get together if you want to play a game like our sign. There are games out there that do use only signs, which also would help those friends and family members be able to learn a little bit of sign language while at the same time including the deaf and hard of hearing member in the activities. And of course, encouraging friends and family to learn some sign language before the event, or before, these parties where the deaf and hard of hearing people will be. There are lots of resources out there. And it's important that people know that it's not 100% the responsibility of the deaf or hard of hearing persons to fix the communication issues. It does require some effort, but it does require effort from the friends and family as well to be more inclusive. That's all I have for you today. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Michael. All right. Let's see, because I like to jump around to different things. Hey, Rowena. Can I call on you to share about the event yesterday?
Absolutely, John. Thank you. I am just super excited. My heart is so bursting with so much love and gratitude for just the importance of community coming together for our clients. So I'm actually representing a couple of our staff members here at the regional center with a Filipino background, and we had a fundraiser yesterday where we created box lunches with some of our staple foods and our culture. So we had pancit, which is noodles with vegetables. We had chicken adobo, which is, an amazing dish, and with rice and with lumpia. And so this is a tradition that we had historically have had for many years, but we stopped during COVID. But just last minute, we just decided we were so close to canceling it about a month ago, but we said no, let's do it. And so we actually did some pre-orders, and first we had 50. You guys, I can't even explain the gratitude that I feel because we had some amazing residential partners that partnered with us very, very last minute, and they donated food to make this fundraiser happen. I want to give a huge thank you to Gemma Estepa, Care Home, Winnie Hernandez, Joe Bagornia, Melinda's Care Home, GM Viato, which is Grace Viato, Antonia Randit, Rochelle's sister, and Zenaida and Kathy Rhymes at Zencar. And we also have another community member that heard about our fundraiser and is very, very passionate about the Filipino culture, and she donated food to us. Her name is Mary Ann de los Santos. So I'm super, super, super excited to share. We just got our grand total of how much we raised just literally an hour ago. We raised about $28,000 for this fundraiser. So that was very last minute. I'm like tearing, you guys.
Sorry, 2,800.
Yeah, it was 100. It
2,800.
was
No,
2,800
28,000.
folks.
Yeah, we aren't
No,
that rich.
2,800.
Very
Sorry.
generous,
Herman
exceeded all
matched it.
expectations. But
Sorry.
I don't want people thinking $26,000.
It's going to be the greatest Santa Day
Sorry.
of all time.
I'm so excited. Thank you, Herman. Thank you. Yes, but still, it was a fundraiser that we were gonna cancel last minute, and so we're just very, very excited. Thank you for those of you that went to the PAC meeting that supported us with all of this, and for our donors. And I will tell you, this has really ignited the Filipino community that we have out to our staff, and we're gonna be reaching out, and we're gonna do something bigger and better next year for Santa Day. So I'm really, really hoping that we see all of you at Santa Day in a couple of weeks. So thank you, John, for allowing me to say my thank yous.
Yeah, I was overwhelmed by all of the work that went into it. You guys are already very busy in your jobs, and then to plan all of this and then to execute it, again, I just can't say enough. And to be able to also acknowledge our service providers that stepped up. And so I certainly makes me miss being a residential manager for 7 years. I certainly miss that close of a connection that I had before. And so thank you, Rowena. I appreciate your leadership in this area, and all of our staff that participated. And all of you providers too that came and bought food that were at the PAC meeting too yesterday. All right, I'm gonna throw my spotlight now over to Morgan. Are you ready, Morgan?
I'm ready.
Right on.
Awesome. And I'm going to apologize in advance. I'm not super used to Zoom, so we're going to try the best that we can here. Okay. And can everybody see that screen?
Looks good.
Amazing. Awesome. So we are Early Explorers. We are a parent coaching program through the 805 service code here at Alta Regional Center. What are we? So 3 years ago, we looked back at what we had as Early Explorers and looked at the early intervention services and remote services that we provided and really evaluated the need and the best practices. and then recreated Early Explorers to answer those needs. Some of these were access issues, the consistency of providers, parents not feeling empowered to help their child, the need to create more learning opportunities for the child throughout their daily routines, and really supporting parents to do that. And then also reaching the underutilized change agent, which is, in our opinion, the caregiver, and putting them in the driver's seat. So in the traditional model, where the family is one-to-one, the provider's in home, that's usually about 2 to 5 hours per week of learning opportunities. We've really challenged ourselves to make it to where, with the parent as this change agent, they're leading now 80 hours per week of learning opportunities for their child. And throughout this, we focus on the goals that matter most to the parents, which includes creating a program that is easy to access from start to finish. Key focuses include behavior challenges, communication and social skills, daily living skills, so helping parents build those age-appropriate daily living skills step by step, so those could be feeding, getting dressed, washing hands. And then our favorite bucket is this other unique circumstances. These are circumstances where we work with each individual family to address the topics that they want to work on or that they care about the most that are affecting their daily lives. This could be potty training, sleep routines, picky eating, really anything that might be a stressor, so we can break down some of those barriers. We use our family quality of life indicator to help us see which part of the child's development is the most concerning to the parents, and then start from there with our trainings. Breaking it down by some of these key focus areas. So this one is our communication and social skills. We really encourage parents through simple strategies to create a learning and language enriched environment to help build their child's communication and social skill development. As you can see by this little middle portion, they're really easy topics that we've renamed some of these ABA principles to. So requesting, read it, sing it, say it. They're easy skills for the parents to remember and easy ones for them to go back on. Within each of these skill areas, we also include a training that we work on one-to-one with the parent during active practice during the session. We have video modeling that they can go back to during their daily routine, go and watch that video again, practice it if they want to, and ask any questions later. And we have reflection exercises for each of these skills that the parents can work on as well throughout the day. They're not requirements, and in no way are they required to get to the next session, but we do encourage it. It helps them learn and make sure that they're staying accountable for the learning as well. There it is. And our goal is just to make life easier for families. We do this through brief, simple video lessons for each skill, so they can easily refer back to the training and practice it throughout their daily routines. We have parent-friendly resources to make learning easy and accessible, live feedback sessions between the parent and their developmental specialist, one-to-one. So kind of here down in that right-hand corner, you can see an example of what that might look like with the developmental specialist and then the parent with their child as well. They normally meet anywhere from 1 to 5 hours per week, depending on their IFSP, to participate in active practice and then check in on those goals and progress. Throughout it, we have those parent-friendly resources that we see here as well. So an app example of reinforcement, as well as a presentation that might go with it, creating routines, and then some of these resources where it's what are one-year-old milestones? What do parents actually need to work on? Making sure that they fully understand that what a one-year-old should be doing is not necessarily what a 2-year-old should be doing, and creating realistic goals throughout the time.
And I just wanted to interject, Morgan. I'm Jill Walson, and I'm part of the Early Explorers program as well with Morgan. And I just wanted to highlight this page because we all know that natural environment is so important for early intervention and regional centers. And Early Explorers is, a lot of people think, oh, it's, teletherapy, remote services. But the beauty of it is that we're able to still work in the family's home with them. And so as you can see in this picture before, Morgan, why I'm jumping in is before you go to the next slide, I wanted to just comment about how we're able to use all the routines and activities in the child's home and in the family's home. So their books, their toys, their snacks, all of that. And we're able to coach the family on those routines. So that's the beauty of the program. So sorry for interjecting right there.
No, thank you so much, Jill. I appreciate it. And then throughout the parents' entire time with Early Explorers, one of our most favorite things is celebrating those milestones. So we celebrate every single milestone that they might go through to help build the parents' confidence and really understand the importance of their work. These milestones might be that the parent completed a hard reflection exercise. They might be that the child said their first word, or that they requested an activity or an item for the first time. It can be anything throughout the process that you normally, a parent wouldn't think of as a huge step, but that really is. And we like to make that very apparent to the parent that sometimes it might not seem like they're making these large leaps, but they're making huge steps along the way. Something unique to Early Explorers is that at the start of every parent's time here, they receive a customized website. This website is what we call their one-stop shop to all things Early Explorers. It includes the link to all of our Early Explorers program resources, the contact information for their care team. Normally this includes their developmental specialist. Sometimes it also includes their resource manager or anybody that might be part of their care team in general that gives us approval to put their information on those websites. It includes access to their schedules and their virtual meeting rooms. That way they just have it all on hand. They can see if they have a session that day and immediately click into it without having to go to their email or their own calendar or really anywhere else. Publicly available resources. These include YouTube fun, educational books and videos that we think might be utilized well, or local resources like the nearest family resource center based on the parent's location. It includes their milestone badges, and those are updated session by session or weekly, just depending on when those get in there. And then those interactive reflection exercises. So this is really our Early Explorers roadmap to success and how we onboard our new families. We start with a warm welcome call that introduces the developmental specialist and Early Explorers, what they'll be doing throughout the process, what any maybe expectations are, and just making sure that they feel comfortable and invited into it. Virtual, again, it's not always the most ideal situation, so sometimes it takes time for the parents to warm up. Next, the family receives that customized Early Explorers website. We walk them through where they can find all of their resources and links, make sure that they are able to open it right away, so there's no issues throughout their time, and troubleshoot any technological issues if there are any. The next step is that collaboration session with our developmental specialist. And this one's really just getting to know the family. We ask some questions about their goals, their values, their routines, what is the most important to them, what should we start working on first, just making sure that we are fully aware of their needs in general. Next is that first parent coaching session, introducing the first skill we're going to work on, that presentation, and working on active practice together. Following that is that first week of active learning with the new skills. And then after that, the plan is daily use of these Early Explorers techniques throughout the family's daily routine in their natural environment. And this is while the family's doing chores at home, going out to grocery stores, going anywhere in the community, just items that they can work on every day without having to really change their way of life. This is just kind of a visual of that Early Explorers session. Every session is guided by the IFSP goals and what matters to the caregiver most. During the virtual sessions, the caregivers are actively engaged with the developmental specialist. And to make sessions more collaborative, predictable, and productive, we have 5 parts to each session. So that start is the warm welcome to get the family members settled into the meeting space. Then we reflect on what we worked on in the last session. We review any questions or difficulties that parents may have had, or any successes. Active learning with the developmental specialist and parent on the newly introduced skill or working on further on skills from the last session if they need some more work or some more support. The optimistic close is that positive feedback, making sure that the parent is comfortable with this new skill set that they're going to be practicing until the next session, making sure they know how to contact us if they have any questions, and just making sure that they know what went well throughout the active practice so they can practice it well throughout the week. And then after that session, the DS just makes any updates to the parent's website. This includes uploading more helpful resources, adding reminders to their site, or even adding in links to any item that they might have discussed. That could include things like noise canceling headphones, if that was a topic of discussion that needed worked on. And here's a visual of how the parents might see each session. So the latest training will be shared by the DS, and they'll go through step-by-step of each training they're discussing. Along with the training, the developmental specialist will introduce any reflection exercises the parent will be working on. That can include anything from a really fun and competitive bingo game for the parent just catching their child being good, to having the parent complete an exercise outlining what they believe their child's reinforcers or motivators are, getting them ready for their next training exercise. And normally at this point, we would be taking a tour of our Early Explorers website. That does take a significant amount of time, and I know we're limited and we have a lot going on. So I'm not going to do a full tour just because it takes about 10 minutes.
No, I think, why don't we put the link in
Yeah.
the chat for folks? and
Yep.
We can,
Perfect. We actually have about a 90-second introduction video to that I'm going to just send in that chat.
perfect.
And you guys can kind of take your own baby tour of it, and that'll be a little bit easier. Following all of this and the end of Early Explorers, something that we do well is the continuation of services. We of course do care coordination and do that warm handoff to any providers the child might be going to next. But with our push to do that access for rural families, something that we are very excited that we do is this connection to our telehealth ABA services to Comprehensive Autism Center. We found that it benefits our families who receive a diagnosis and are in need of ABA therapy after that third birthday when they age out of Early Explorers, but that don't have an ABA provider in the area. They do the same thing that we do now, just more extensive, of course. They support with the reducing unwanted or challenging behaviors, targeting skill building across all these areas of development, including adaptive daily living skills, social emotional communication, and functional living skills for the older kiddos. And we've just found that this is really great. It's helped a lot of our families that are out in rural areas that don't have any providers to those in-center or in-home. We know that that's a preference. It's not a hidden agenda. Everybody likes the in-home and in-center a little bit more, but some families just can't get to that. So this is really what we do well. We try and create, we try and take away these barriers to services for families who otherwise might not have any other options.
Right. And just to, expand and highlight on that point is we've been pleasantly surprised, and why we're really highlighting today is just the success of the program, and that families that have done Early Explorers have been thrilled with the progress that they're seeing and the support that they're getting. Otherwise, they'd be maybe waiting on services. And that's another thing we understand. We went to the vendor fair in August at Alta, which was wonderful. And we met a lot of service coordinators, and, a lot of people are hesitant to try the tele. And what we're saying is try it. If you're sitting and waiting for services anyway, let's get you started. We understand that we may bridge you to another provider during your journey, but it's a great way to get services going and supporting. And a lot of times families are thrilled with it. So just wanted to, get the parent perspective as well. And also it does start with the service coordinators, because it becomes educating them that this is a great way to get things rolling for your child and get some support.
Excellent. Morgan, I think what we'll do is we're going to ask you to put your contact information, and Jill, you
Perfect,
can
yeah.
as well in our chat, and you're welcome to share your PowerPoint for folks
Absolutely.
too in the chat.
Perfect. Yes, I will share all that and I'll do that link to the video as well. But that's us. We're early explorers, and I'll put all my information there if anybody has any questions.
Awesome. Excellent. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
All right. I am going to jump over real quickly here to our resource development policy and share my screen. That's different. Okay. Let's see. Are we seeing the resource development policy, Tom Casper? Yep. All right. Good stuff. So if folks participated in the Provider Advisory Committee meeting yesterday, we had a discussion related to an update for Alta California Regional Center's resource development policy. Regional centers have policies and then they have procedures. Policies are approved by the board of directors for the regional center. One of the policies that we have is related to resource development. We updated it in 2021 when we started doing more multifamily housing projects, and that was to allow us to award projects outside of the RFP process because we have stakeholder feedback that we receive for all of our multifamily housing developments. The newest one is related to ensuring that we are very transparent and we are very equally applying what the expectations are for vendor insurance requirements. There's a document that has been attached to this vendor resource development policy that indicates the $1 and $3 million insurance coverages that are very familiar to those of you that work under any of these existing service codes. And additionally, it outlines that for those that will be vendored under Service Code 895, which is the public transportation companies, they will have a $3 and $5 million insurance requirement. We felt like it was important for us to put this in writing and put it in something that can be given to service providers when they apply for vendorization. If folks have issues or questions, let's see, I should be able to drop this in the chat. You're welcome to reach out to me directly. I'm interested in hearing your feedback. You can email me at jdecker@altaregional.org. And again, this is a document that'd be given to service providers upon applying for the regional center that indicates what your required insurance coverages are based off of the different service codes. All right. And let's see, any questions about that, folks? Again, the hope, we want to be as transparent as possible. We want to make sure that we are letting everyone know what the expectations are right up front for vendorization. All right. Christy, I think you don't have to touch on the housing ones. Rhonda and I can go through those real quickly, but would you mind sharing about our CRDP projects?
Oh, sure. One moment. Okay, can you see the screen?
I can.
Okay. Okay, so this is a list of our awarded CPP and CRDP plans for the fiscal year of 2024 and 2025. So several months back, we received a lot of information. We received survey results. We had conversations and public meetings to talk about the needs in our community. And in July, we had a public stakeholder meeting for the CRDP results. And so we were awarded 9 projects. These projects will be posted by Monday, November 18th. And we can go ahead and go through the list of our awarded projects. So the first
This
one
is the interpreter. Sorry to
Mhm.
interrupt. Do you mind zooming in a little bit?
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
Oh, that's my.
Okay, so our first project is a multifamily housing units, and there's 8. I don't know if that was something you wanted to touch on, John.
Yeah, this is in West Sacramento. It's with Brinshaw Development. It's located on 5th Street. It would be 2 blocks up from the Sutter Field there where the athletics are going to be playing. And this is going to be for individuals with developmental disabilities that also are blind or have partial blindness.
Okay. And then our next project is a specialized residential facility for adults. This facility is to help provide housing for those that are ready to transition out of a more restrictive setting to a less restrictive setting. So individuals that would be transitioning out of a CCH or an EBSH, for example. And then our next project is a center-based psychiatric treatment service. And then we also have a dental app. This, just a little bit about the app, it's to provide prompts for individuals that need more assistance with their dental care needs. It'll have videos, it'll provide information to that person and to care providers. And we also were awarded for a project for dental desensitiz. Let me say this one more time. Dental desensitization services. And our next one is specialized residential facility for children. And then we have an adult day program. And this adult day program is going to be licensed and it will assist individuals that have mild to moderate behavioral issues and any kind of potential medical or personal care needs. And the location of this will be in an outlying area to serve those communities. And then our next one is a multifamily housing unit. Actually, there's 10 units. And then lastly, we have an EBSH for adults.
Thanks. The other 10 units are in the city of Davis, right by Highway 113 by the hospital. And this is in the new Bretton Woods senior development that is going on there. And we will have 10 units there. And I will say congratulations to Rhonda for putting forth 3 excellent projects. We unfortunately were not awarded for the project that we wanted in Roseville. So we're still short on Placer County projects, but I'm certainly pleased with these 2 additional projects that have been granted for Yolo County. Any questions? We'll be getting our RFPs out there for folks. All right, thank you, Christy.
Okay, thanks.
All right, and let me jump over to, oh, go ahead. Yeah, Alina.
I have a question. I am intern at Alta California Regional Center from Sacramento State University at Roseville unit, and I would like to ask the previous who is qualified for the, for example, like multifamily housing unit. Who is qualified?
What I would like you to do, Alina, is since this is a service provider meeting, we really ask the questions come from the service providers and not our staff or our interns. So can you shoot an email over to Rhonda Phillips? She's in your Outlook, and you can shoot her an email and shoot me an email, and we can talk about that.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. I am going to move on to rate reform information and touch on the high-level information that we have real quickly here. So let me go to DDS's website, and I notice every single day we get a change to what the Department of Developmental Services website looks like. And so let me share here. All right. So the updates about service provider directory, rate reform, quality incentives in less than 7 minutes. We'll see how this goes. All right. So here is where you can find the information in writing that you need once it has all been posted. Right now, the information is under the rate reform page at the very beginning. And on the rate reform page, first you can see the very large banner here regarding the service provider directory. We'll get to that in just a moment. I guess it will not let me X out of that. There we go. But I would direct folks to this page, which is the rate reform, and there's the rate reform directives, and there's the rate models and rates. So first, as a reminder, this has not been updated recently, but the rate models and rates are here. And so the rates for regional center services for Alta California Regional Center are all published. These rates include both the minimum wage and they include the sick leave adjustments effective January 1. So that's where you can find that information on our website. Additionally, you should know where the rate reform directives are being published. There's a couple in here that are important to speak about. We have rate reform implementation for special circumstances. And in this directive, and we've spent a lot of time talking about this, but we know that we are looking at our 637 exceptions that we have, those times where we've gone to our public and said we need to change regulation in order to meet a need of our community. So for example, our psychologists are vendored, their rates are under a 637 waiver. We have a number of health and safety waivers as well that have been developed for service providers. So now we need to take a look at all of these rates that we've created separately through the regional center, these 637s and these health and safety waivers. And we need to see if those January benchmark rates, the ones that I just showed you on the previous screen, whether or not they're higher than those or not. And we're going to need to do that comparison and get it back. So let's say you're an agency that has a agency health and safety waiver. Then we would take a look at what did you put in for that, and then what is the new rate going to be, and we would determine whether or not those health and safety waivers would need to continue or not. So for example, I use the example of supplemental staffing. Many health and safety waivers are written for $24 to $25 an hour for supplemental staffing, but we know that when we go to look at the new rates for supplemental staffing, that the rates are significantly higher than that. And so I just want to make sure folks are aware of that part of it. So I will go again to the rate models so folks know where to look. And you would find the supplemental staffing that is tied to your service. So if you are a residential service provider, supplemental staffing is now $30.15 an hour effective January. It's a big difference. It was like $9 not that long before COVID. And so it has really changed significantly. And that means that we have to assess all of these and determine whether or not we are going to be maintaining these or whether or not we are updating them. So here is what else we have: an exemption process. There's an exemption process that exists if we want to look at vendoring service providers under service codes that are in essence going away. We're not really interested in that. If we know that there's going to be new service codes effective January 1, we really want to just get service providers in those new codes as opposed to submitting to the department an exception for it. I think we really want to take a close look at that, under what circumstances we would do that. And so let me share my screen real quickly with the enclosures that went along with that for special circumstances. These are the services that are in essence going away. They're going, for example, the 048 service code is now going to be the service code for the 612, the behaviorist ones, and the tutors specifically. So instead of having these bundled up rates, the rate models now are really tied to the specific individuals. Whoops. There we go. They're really tied to the specific individuals that are doing some of the individual therapies, for example. So like these models right here. So for rate reform, additionally in there in the attachment is service code 055, 063, 103, 525. We're going to need to take a look at all of those programs and determine where those services are going to be categorized as. And after PAC, we had a little discussion about it, and I feel like that's going to be kind of a complex discussion with a lot of you service providers, especially those of you that might have like a variable rate type of program. What we are hearing from the department is that the directives for the adult and day services, employment services, are going to be coming out in the next week and a half or so. And so hopefully we can provide more information for service providers. We know that there's going to be an attestation form that you're going to be required to, sorry, I'm sharing the wrong screen there. There's going to be an attestation form that you are going to be signing that is going to be all that is needed from the department in order for us to implement the next rate increases. This is the directive. Sorry, I jumped to the attestation form. The other directive that came out was specifically for those services I just got done mentioning, those behavioral services, adaptive skills trainings, etc. What we've learned is that the department plans, when they release these service code specific directives, they're going to follow it with a public meeting. And then every time they release it, they are also going to be releasing these rate reform service acknowledgement documents. So in essence, this is the document that you will utilize to indicate that you're going to be getting in line with the rate study descriptions of services that become effective January 1st. You'll indicate what your services are provided, and these all need to be to us at the regional center by March of the end of March of 2025. All of this is predicated on you all being able to log into the service provider directory and be able to enter in your information, and for us to be able to determine whether or not you meet the quality incentive payments or not. And we know for anyone that's been participating in any statewide meetings that the service provider directory is very challenged right now. There is mismatched information that is coming in. There is challenges in people being able to log in. Michelle Duchesne, is there anything generally else that we want to share about the challenges related to the service provider directory?
No, I'm just letting and connecting with all of our providers to let them know, regardless of what the change is, even if it's considered a major or minor, we are connecting with you individually to confirm, because we're finding that providers in the directory are making changes that they did not intend to make. So we're making sure to connect with you guys. So just keep an eye out from my team and just respond to us so we can get those processed.
Michelle, there was a discussion this morning about delaying our upcoming day and employment vendor forum until we get this directive. I think everyone on board here probably would not mind that. Service providers, are we okay if we have to possibly postpone a vendor forum for a week or two until we get the directives? Right on. Okay, Michelle. Andrea speaks for everyone. We're good to go. Let's postpone that one a little bit. I do want to just jump over real quickly to our calendar on our website, and we're going to get more, updated information to you as we possibly can as it relates to the rate study. But it all comes out, with the directives, and we will make our staff, our managers available to meet with you all regarding your services. Let's see here. For Alta's calendar, I just wanted to, we don't have Carly here, and I would feel bad not promoting our upcoming activities. We have our big board meeting that's coming up here shortly, where we're going to be presenting on our performance contract. And are we doing an NCI at that as well? Anyway?
Yes, we are.
Right on. So it's going to be a very packed agenda for the board meeting. Recommend folks, if you're interested, please participate in that. But the Micro Enterprise Fair, just wanted to mention, please reach out, register to get a table. We want to have the conference room or conference rooms. I think we're going to have both of them as full as possible. So please don't hesitate to reach out related to the Micro Enterprise Fair. I've gone through my agenda and I think I saved 7 minutes for Sunset Lotus. Can you guys get it done? I hope. I'm sorry.
I certainly will try. Let me share my screen real quick.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, no problem. All right, and everybody can see that, I'm assuming. Yes. All right, so happy Friday. I'm going to get through this quickly. My name is Julia Holman. I'm the founder and an end-of-life practitioner here at Sunset Lotus. We are a holistic, non-medical end-of-life service provider, and we are incredibly excited to be expanding our support to include coordinated family support services. So today I'm going to quickly share more about what we do here at Sunset Lotus, specifically our range of services and how they support families through every phase of the end-of-life journey. I'm also going to highlight a relevant case to show how we bring the support to life and explain how our coordinated family support program is really designed to expand and enhance these offerings, really ensuring that each family feels supported and prepared at every step of the way. So Sunset Lotus, we embrace what we call the PANDA spectrum, meaning that we're here to support every step of the end-of-life journey. And so that's from the earliest conversations around planning and preferences to the physical, emotional, and logistical needs that arise as death approaches. So we go far beyond just those final moments or days. We understand that the end-of-life process really is a multi-layered journey, and each stage really requires its own form of care and attention. So my path to this work started 16 years ago in the foster care system as a behavior intervention specialist in a level 14. And the insights that I gained through that experience, along with my years in supported living, really shaped my vision for Sunset Lotus. I took what I believe to be the most effective elements that I found in residential-based support services, wraparound SLS, and tried to weave them into our practice today, making sure that we're here to support not only the individual, but the entire family. So I'm going to go over into our service offerings. Each service that I'm going to mention here comes with a really comprehensive list of full details on our website. My program director, David Wade, is going to share a link in the chat where you can explore each one in depth. And really, this is designed to ensure families have all the support that they need through every step of their journey. So our services cover everything from end-of-life planning and care preferences, like I mentioned, patient advocacy to creating ethical wills. We offer respite and companionship visits, and we help integrate care teams where we support both the families and the caregivers. We also provide comfort care and vigil support when death is close. We work in tandem with hospice and palliative teams. For after a loved one has passed, we do provide in-home body care, which really honors cultural and religious tradition and ceremony. It also allows families not only the time to say goodbye, but also space for distant loved ones to travel in and be present in home. We're here for ongoing grief and bereavement support too, as well as advocacies who find themselves choosing medical aid in dying or VSED. And for guardians of adult dependents with complex care needs, we offer advanced transition planning. So every step of the way, we're right there making sure individuals and families are connected to the resources and the support that they need, so they never have to face that journey alone. So as I mentioned, I'm going to highlight a relevant case that really illustrates the heart of what we do. Over this past year, I've been working with a mother facing end-stage cancer. And her greatest concern really is her adult son who has complex care and enhanced behavioral needs. She's the sole caregiver. In every single conversation that we have, her thoughts are really solely on him and his care. And the questions that she's asking are heartbreaking, but they're universal. This is not a unique situation. And those questions are, who's going to understand him? Who's going to keep him safe? And will he be taken care of? And this story really embodies our mission to bring peace of mind and continuity of care to both the individuals and the families. So for this mother, just to give you an idea of how we're coordinating the range of services to meet their needs. So our support plan includes establishing a dedicated care team, connecting him with specialized providers, and identifying community resources that's really going to sustain his ongoing care. We've set up tours with SLS agencies so she can be involved in the process. We're also helping her create an ethical will, which is a legacy document that really is going to capture her wisdom and insights about his care. So her voice and guidance really will continue to support him even after she's gone. It's also going to be a blueprint for future service providers, and it's going to hold his history. We're coordinating respite services for the family and the caregivers to provide consistent care during transitions. Behavioral support will be part of this plan, helping both him and his new care providers understand his grief and ensure it's not misinterpreted, and allow him to process his loss in a way that really respects his unique needs. So through this coordinated support, we're really preparing him for what's going to be the most difficult transition that he's going to face. And it really does bring his mom a sense of peace, knowing that her son's going to receive compassionate and continuous care. When the time comes, we'll be there to support this transition, providing grief support tailored to his needs and ensuring he has a compassionate safety net around him. So at Sunset Lotus, we really are here to ensure that families like hers feel supported, understood, and empowered. And the key here is that we start doing that well before they face these hardest moments. So in addition to our end of life services, we're expanding to offer more direct daily support through the Coordinated Family Support Program. And we really do believe that aligns really naturally with the work that we're doing in the end of life space. So our approach begins with a detailed assessment to identify the precise support required for each family to confidently oversee their own services. So when we're identifying each family's immediate need, we're establishing a tailored care plan really focused on stabilizing the household and overcoming those everyday challenges. We are able to provide direct care while services are being established. So we are committed to working really intimately with these families to reduce and remove the barriers that hinder individuals from remaining in their family homes. And by integrating direct support services, coordinated provider care, and connecting families with the essential resources, we're really equipping them with a sustainable framework that fosters independence, resilience, and continuity of care. So all the while facilitating those really critical conversations about the future. So for families and service coordinators looking to request an assessment, our website does have a CFS facts page that outlines the process and answers some really common questions. We're here to make sure that the journey really feels guided, informed, and filled with the support families need. So through the CFS framework, we're able to create a compassionate approach that really supports both the consumers and those that love them, not just at the end, but in all the moments before. So as I close really quickly, I do really want to extend my deepest gratitude to ACRC for the opportunity to bring end-of-life services into this space where we really get to honor each individual's journey. I really appreciate your engagement and focus during our time today. I really am looking forward to the potential paths that the future conversations and our cooperative efforts might take us. Thank you.
How cool. Thank you very much. And this is so timely. I know, Jason, we just had the discussion at our provider advisory committee meeting yesterday about, coordinated family supports and the just the types of things that we could possibly do with that service. And Herman, I thought about you as they were talking. Camelia, I thought about you as they were talking because you guys have been, big proponents of us increasing our competencies and being able to support our planning teams in these types of situations. And so being able to have a vendor that we can rely on to provide some of those supports when they become identified is pretty awesome. So, all right. Let's see. Oh, good. Seeing the comments there in the chat. Let's see. Kate, are you still around real quick? Because I would love for you to just share real quickly about what you have. But if you're gone, that's okay too. And if not, then I'll go and see if Lindsay's still around because I can share her thing if she took off as well. All right. 12 o'clock is apparently when we end the meeting, folks. You guys have a great rest of your day. Again, thank you so much for acknowledging all of our providers that supported the event yesterday at our agency. Can't say enough about our providers. Thank you all very much. You're very appreciated. Everyone have a great weekend. We'll look forward to giving you more rate reform updates next week. Thank you for the spotlights.
Bye. Thank you.